But I kind of just laid on the road, had my headphones in, and just looked up at the sky. And then I was like, well, if I wake up, I'll go home. If I don't wake up, who cares? And so I took a nap. And I woke up about 2 hours later, disappointed that I had woken up. I'm gonna have to change my life. And I know I can't. The only way that I can is if God helps me. Because at this point, I didn't care. And there was no way that I was gonna convince myself to care. The only one who could make me care is God. And so I prayed and I asked him, help me feel anything other than just what I've been feeling for the past, I don't know how long, however many years. And help me to just feel satisfied, that satisfaction, because I just feel empty and lost. And I don't want to feel like that anymore. And I'm tired of looking for happiness in different areas that leave me worse off than before. And I don't know, I laid in bed and I didn't feel any different. And so I kind of rolled over and just fell asleep. I don't think I stopped praying. I just kind of fell asleep mid-sentence at some point. And I woke up the next day and I didn't feel any different. The only thing that was different was I was like, okay, I think I should go to church on Sunday. And so then I did. And then I was like, you know what? There's a Bible study I'm going to go to. I'm going to go to evening service. I'm going to go to the Wednesday night Bible study. I'm going to talk to people at the church, and I'm going to ask them questions. And looking back, I can see that there was a change. I didn't notice it in the moment. I didn't notice that areas that I had dreaded for a lot of my teen years, I started desiring. I wanted to get to know who God was. I wanted to spend time with him and with his people at church and at home. I wanted to figure out who I was. And the only person who knows that is God. Because I don't know who I am. I can be one person at school and a different person at home. But the only person who knows me and knows every thought and feeling I've had is God. And so I'm going to ask him who I am. And he says in the Bible, actually, who I am. And that was like, I knew all these things. I grew up hearing these things, but I never let it really sink in until about January of 2021. And after a few months of talking to people at church and asking a lot of questions, and still wrestling with a lot of hurt and being very uncomfortable, lots of questions. I heard of a Bible camp that I used to go to. I remembered it, and I was like, oh, I'm not doing anything this summer. I want to go to Bible camp. My first year university was ending, and there was an option to kind of go in the spring and to work over the spring and in the summer. And so I went, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be perfect. It's in the middle of nowhere in Saskatchewan. I can just kind of sit, enjoy God's creation, and learn about him and tell others about him. And I'll be able to grow in my faith. And because there's like other Christians there, I can talk and ask questions if I have the need to. And so that's what I did. And it wasn't until that summer where after a week of camp, working with a bunch of kids, that I laid in bed and I was looking up at the roof and I thought to myself, I do feel satisfied. That weird hole that I've been shoving all these different things into felt different. It didn't feel like a hole. It was full. And that's when I was telling people about God. That's when I was loving others. That's when I was loving God. That's when I was reading my Bible and praying with Him and actually looking to Him for that satisfaction. And during that summer, I made a lot of friendships, and a lot of people kind of poked the idea of going to Bible school. And I was like, oh, okay, it's in Saskatchewan. I don't like Saskatchewan. I'm from Edmonton. I'm like big city. It's very nice. You know, you ride your bike 20 minutes in any direction, you can get literally anything you want. Saskatchewan, you drive for an hour and you're also still in the middle of nowhere. And, but I couldn't shake the feeling of just, I think I should go. And it excited me. My year at university did not excite me. I had no care for anything that I was learning. I didn't know what I wanted to do or why I was there, but I wanted to learn about God. Not because I thought it would make Him love me more or for any other reason aside from I wanted to know who He was, and I wanted to know what He says, and all of that's in the Bible. And I didn't know what else to do, and I was like, what better place than to learn about the only person who's been with me since day one. The person who knows me the best, I want to know them too. And so I went to my first year, and it was hard in some aspects of a lot of habits in my life, a lot of the ways that I dealt with people, I dealt with situations. It was hard. It was a bit of a culture shock. A lot of people at the school definitely had a different lifestyle than I did. And so wrestling with, change is always difficult. But something that I look, that I get from my dad is he never stopped trying. And like I said, he's a residential school survivor. And a lot of people that he went, I guess, to school with left hating God and hating their life. And he made a decision early on that he wasn't going to let that ruin his life. He was going to keep going, and he was going to make the best out of any situation. And I wanted to do the same. And so every time that it got hard, I'd see that my dad moved on, and that was through Jesus. It was, through Jesus that he was able to come to terms with his life and to do better. And so through Jesus, I could be able to come to terms with my life and to do better. I really respect him for that. And I respect that he kind of shared that with me. The past 2 years, 3 years, learned a lot about God and struggling a lot and making a lot of mistakes. But as my time here has gone on, I've realized that I my identity is found in Jesus. I'm a child of God, and I am the way that I am because he made me that way, and he loves me, and I'm not a second, tier Christian or person just because I've made a lot of mistakes, and that the only satisfaction in this life is found in loving him and loving others.